Hello, everyone. My name is Chance Brutton. Welcome back to Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. I'm joined once again by Tyler.
Hello.
We are now about to go back to the route where Phi and Kay are unable to go through the white chromatic doors because Dio's bracelet, who's their partner, his bracelet's been smashed. So they're going to die, and we were wondering how we can save them. Now we have learned of a thing we can inject them with that can counteract the poison that would normally kill them, so we can save them. Although I still don't know how we're going to get around the fact that I think we only have one dose, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, we're also sort of dying ourselves because we stayed behind with them, so...
We're dying? What?
We all have been injected because, we were at the white chromatic doors, and I think for some reason Sigma decided to leave, or not leave them behind.
Oh, I thought we still had time, because Sigma can go through. I thought we still had, 5 minutes.
Well, either way, if it hasn't happened, it's about to happen, I remember, at least.
Yeah, it depends on how long it takes us to get the antidote, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not exactly sure where the antidote is in that route.
Yeah, I forget where exactly, but I imagine one of you guys have it, because otherwise it would be nearly impossible with the time you have left. But since we're reaching the end game, there's a few questions that are really important that I want to make sure to know what your thoughts are right now. And one is, who do you think K is?
Ah, okay. So that's an interesting question, because I was a very strong subscriber to the K is a duplicative Dio theory. And I still kind of think that might be the case. But one thing that occurred to me is when that hologram of
Zero.
The Zero came up, it sounded like K. So it rattled me a little bit in wondering, could that be who K is? I also wonder if it's a made-up image. Because, Zero made up the bunny to represent him as well. For a virtual projection, Zero could make just about anything he wanted. So there's no guarantee that that avatar really represents what he actually looks like. That could just be playing into our interpretation of what he probably looks like.
Yeah, Tenmyoji didn't say that, or did mention that he knew who K was, or who Zero was, though, when he saw that, or when he presumably saw it in his own ending.
He did say, wasn't it a different ending that he mentioned that, though?
No, it's the same one. Yeah, there was only one end where it showed up, really.
So then did he recognize him?
Maybe.
Is that the idea, that Tenmyoji actually recognized the person there? Because if that's the case, then maybe K is Zero? Because Zero has to be a part of the game, right?
Yeah.
But then it's a little bit odd, because then it seems weird, the idea that the Myrmidons are all clones. Wouldn't you want that to play, some bigger role? Wouldn't it make a little more sense if there was actually a clone present?
Yeah, I guess.
So it feels like it leaves a bit of a loose end there.
Mm-hmm.
Although it also does play into what the writers left in that record, where they're like, do not introduce a twin, unless it's been really well set up in advance.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe they don't want to just use the idea that, hey, K is a clone of Dio. So I'm actually really on the fence about whether or not K is the Zero that we saw in the projection, or whether K is actually Left. Another version of Left.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll say he's more likely to be Zero just because the voice is really similar. But it's really close to 50-50.
Okay. And then my second question, I guess, is who do you think the robot is? Because we haven't figured that out either.
That's a really good point. I forgot, actually, that there was an actual robot here. So,
or Golem.
I feel like the best evidence for that is thinking about who possibly could have been the ones frozen, right? Let's eliminate Dio.
Yeah.
Because Dio is an outsider who infiltrated the game. He's got his own, stuff going on. I'm pretty confident it's not him. Tenmyoji and Quark, I buy their backstories and that they kind of back each other up. So neither of them would be the robot. Also, from the way that, Quark describes, kids don't have parents, and Tenmyoji's like a scrapper and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
a salvager. It seems to me they grew up in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
So they're not the freezing ones. They've actually know what the real world outside is like. But the thing is then Clover, Alice, and Phi all claim to be from our time period, correct?
Yeah.
We know we're fine because we've scanned. We've got synthetic arms, but we're not a robot. Alice and Clover kind of back each other up.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, the only reason we know we're not a robot is because Luna told us that. Mm-hmm. So of course it does leave us subject to, whether or not Luna is telling the truth.
Yeah, I think we saw the Atom screen though as well.
Yeah. So I guess we can probably believe it. So then that mainly leaves Luna and Phi. Luna we know virtually nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess Phi is the interesting one there, isn't she? Because Phi, if she's telling the truth, really believes she's from our time. Mm-hmm. Luna could be from anywhere. We've never actually made any claims from Luna. But Phi believes it. So, but we know there's 3 pods, right? So if the 3 pods were us, Alice, and Clover, then it's not possible for Phi to have just come from the same time that she remembers being from.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to imply to me that her memory has been programmed. So maybe Phi is actually a robot. That's what I'm thinking by process of elimination.
Okay. And then I guess, like you mentioned a while back as well, you think Clover and Tenmyoji are connected in some way. Do you have anything like specifics to think about with that, or I guess?
God, so actually, yeah, I yet again I've forgotten about that. That's a tricky one because obviously Tenmyoji is familiar with Clover, but based on their backstories, I just can't see how. Now that before it seemed like it was a reasonable thing that they could be connected because I knew nothing about them.
Yeah.
But now that I've learned more, it actually makes it harder to see a connection because now there's, less room for doubt and unknowns. They grew up in totally separate worlds. Under this current theory, Clover was in cryo freezing for a long time. And they weren't. And, Tenmyoji and Quark spent their time growing up salvaging. If he knows Clover, it has to be from a very long time ago. It has to be from before she froze in the pod, right?
Yeah.
So it had to have been, I'm not really sure what the timeline of events is here, but it had to have been, I'm guessing 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, at least that long.
At least, yeah. I forget what. We've seen a couple things that indicate some numbers, but I don't remember exactly what we've seen that indicate some time frames.
The journal said it would take decades to find a cure for Radical 6, which was one thing.
Yeah, I think did they say 20 years?
I think it was
or
just
did they say decades?
A decade or a couple of decades or something like that.
And I wanted to say there was something that said 2038.
Oh yeah, I do remember that actually. I forget where it was.
Yeah, I forget where it was as well, but something said 2038. So basically, I get the 10 years from that and 20 years from the journal. And then it could be more, maybe. But so he must have known Clover from some time ago like that. Now I am thinking Tenmyoji, it's possible Tenmyoji is Junpei. That Tenmyoji's not his real name, that he's actually the Junpei from the first game. Because it does seem like he was struck by the death of the woman who is possibly Akane. The timeline on that is a little bit weird though, because what's hard for me to rectify is that based on like the third game, if I hadn't seen the third game, I'd be very suspicious about that. But based on the third game, their ages would be the same. Or even then, not considering the third game, leaving that out of it, they were the same age as Clover.
Mm-hmm. It'd have to be a lot more than 10 years to become an old man like that.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I guess the importance of the third game is that they eventually return to being the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Because the third game happens after the second game, I think, because, like Phi and Sigma know each other well. So all of the events here had to have already happened at that point, but it means that, at that time, they would have had to have been the same age. Unless unless something weird goes on here, like, I don't know what the canon route is that this game is going to end on. Maybe there's a twist at the end of the true ending that, we jump to an existence where none of this ever happened. And from that ending, no time has passed. All of these games that we're playing are already well into the future of a bad future. And that, we're going to retroactively fix things. So maybe then the third game can take place chronologically in the right time. Even this game was technically in the far future, but then the characters jumped back.
Yeah,
something like that. That might work.
Be something.
So, yeah, maybe it's possible that Temioji is actually Junpei, and that, the woman, as we've discussed, is actually Akane Kurashiki. In which case, he knows Clover from the first game. Although, a counter-argument I have for that is this. Temioji really trusts Clover.
Mm-hmm.
Junpei watched Clover murder everybody, including him with an axe. So, would he then really trust her after that?
Yeah, I guess that would be a big, red flag not to trust her.
You would think, yeah. I'd trust Snake, but Clover, not as much. Although maybe if he figures Snake isn't here, then that's okay.
Yeah.
So, your original question was, what was the connection between them?
Yeah.
I guess my leading theory is the connection is he's probably actually Junpei, and that's how he knows her from the previous game.
Okay, and then I guess my last question is, do you think there's anything special about the location or anything like that of this game?
Well, so far, what I'm given to understand is I think this game is probably set in the bunker that was set up for that Mars mission simulation. Probably.
Okay.
Although, wait, now I'm thinking about, if he was Junpei, would he be involved in a Mars mission simulation? I'm not sure on the answer on that.
Yeah, we don't really know much about Junpei outside of the Nonary games.
We know that right after the Nonary game, from the first game, Junpei disappeared. He went off the radar as he was looking for Akane.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been looking for her the whole time. And it would line up with Temioji's been looking for this woman, who we believe is Akane. So that would line up. I guess the real question is, just kind of in the middle ground. I guess in the middle ground, if he searches for a while and he's not finding anything, he's got to do something. So maybe he gets involved with all that, sure. But we're probably in the facility that they had constructed to run that Mars simulation test, which is out in the desert. Which, based on what we've seen from the exit where we leave, I'm wondering if they set that up inside of an old nuclear silo facility that's been renovated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there'd be any other twists to get from that, but I don't think we're on Mars. I think we're more likely in the actual simulation.
Okay. So that's all the questions I had, so if you wanted to start now.
Well, then let's go ahead and see how we save Phi, K, and possibly us, who may need to be saved depending on how long we take doing this. I feel like I've just taken an exam, and now I'm hoping that I got the right results.
Yeah.
So, no, of course it was C. They were all C. Why didn't I know that?
Yeah, there was a lot of truth and a lot of incorrect things about what you said, so.
Okay. So, I got maybe I got a C. It's a passing grade, maybe?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really know how to grade it.
All right. I guess we'll see going forward. Shit! They're not here!
Maybe they did go through the door, like Kay said.
With Quark's bracelet?
Or
what?
Yeah, Quark's bracelet is also missing.
That is true. And who could have gone through the door? Alice and Temioji?
Yeah, Clover Tenmyoji, I think.
Clover Temioji. Oh yeah, because Alice Luna are dead. Oh, come on, man. You better not give me that maybe they're already dead crap. I got enough of that from Dio. You've got to be kidding me. This isn't funny, Phi. If you're right, then you, Kay, Quark, and I are the only people still alive in here.
Hey, lay off. I want to believe they're alive too. But
We heard a noise and turned. Santa?
I apologize for keeping you.
I heard the bells going, and so it's like, oh, I didn't know Kay was wearing bells on his outfit.
did you get Dio's bracelet?
Well, technically, yes, but
We're a little bit
Best
farther
you just
back,
see
so
it.
we've technically seen this before, but
Oh, right.
yeah, it's the smashed bracelet, and now we see exactly how far this actually went. I guess the doors are still open now.
Mm-hmm.
The first is an anesthetic called Soparil Beta. The other is a muscle relaxant called Tubocurarine. Your bracelet also has a bunch of needles on the inside. If you break the rules, those needles hop out and inject you.
My brother told me about that. Neostigmine is a type of cholinesterase inhibitor. That means it's sort of an antidote for tubocurine. I
Yep.
knew it!
Give it back. I found it, so it's mine.
So one person can be saved.
Mhm.
Achievement unlocked. To each according to his needle.
Which I suppose you can't really save Kay anyways because of that helmet and armor, but
We'd need the key to get his helmet off, I guess.
yeah, which I think you do actually get it off in this end, but
Of course! The antidote!
The antidote?
I didn't have time to explain. I took off running toward the exit. That's a
Sigma,
weird way to run. He's like
Yeah.
panning as he goes.
where are you going?
Stay here! I'll be right back!
it's like drifting but running.
I bolted out of the warehouse toward the treatment room. It's like when you play, like, Mario Kart, and then you, like, lean with the controller as you go. Except he's just actually doing that as he moves around. I'll take the corners better if I do this!
I guess it put us farther back for the flashback. That way we can, like, have the time to actually grab this.
I think Dio put it in his pocket. Come on, come on, come on. Please still have it. Sweat was pouring down my face, but I didn't bother to wipe it off. There wasn't time. I dug frantically through Dio's coat until... Aha! Found it! Oh. There's only one dose. The injection gun uses the whole bottle at once. Shit. Can't save both of them.
1 minute remains.
1 minute? Shit! I spun around and shot out of the treatment center. It's too bad. I was kind of hoping for like a
3,
double flashback to remember the
2,
machine, but I guess there really isn't time
1.
even if they knew.
Yeah,
Chromatic doors closing.
it is the second floor though, so there's no elevator ride needed, but still.
Mm-hmm. No. You gotta be kidding me.
Oh dear.
Sigma.
There was a sharp, quick pain in my wrist, barely even noticeable.
Oh, it was
I
closing.
couldn't feel
that
anything
opening.
flowing into my veins, but I knew it was there. First would be the anesthetic Soparil. I blinked and my vision started to blur. When I tried to think, it felt like my mind had been stuffed with cotton. My legs began to wobble, then gave out entirely as I crumpled to the floor. Yeah, so we're all screwed. No. I couldn't fall asleep. I had to give one of them the antidote before my bracelet injected me with tubocurine. With every ounce of strength I could muster, I forced my eyes back open.
Yeah, around this moment was where I thought we would flash back at.
Kay and Phi lay limp on the floor in front of me. In my right hand, I could feel the injection gun with its precious cargo. I could only pull the trigger once. Who was I going to choose? Phi or Kay? Maybe the assumption is just that we can inject Kay? No, what was I thinking? There was only one answer. Me.
Myself.
Now, Phi! I didn't even have a choice. After all, Kay's entire body was covered in impenetrable metal. Wait, he's made of metal?
The
I just
suit.
put that together. That's gotta be so heavy! I thought it was like some kind of, really tough plastic or something. I'm sorry, Kay. I summoned up as much energy as I could and dragged myself towards Phi. After what felt like an eternity, I was finally within arm's reach. With no time to waste, I pressed the gun to her arm and pulled the trigger.
Sigma, what the hell did you...
I injected you with neostigmine. It's a type of cholinesterase inhibitor. He can say that while he's so heavily drugged out. It's the antidote to the muscle relaxant.
Why did you pick me?
Because I can't use the injection gun on Kay. It'd never get through the metal.
Then why didn't you inject yourself?
Guess you've got a point. Honestly, didn't even cross my mind. Really didn't.
You're the biggest idiot on the planet.
Hey, come on. Is that any kind of thing to say to somebody who's about to die? How about something more tender?
No. Screw this. I don't want to live if it means being in debt to you. No goddamn way. I'm not gonna...
Too late. Her words slurred and slowed, and her eyes fluttered closed. She wasn't dead, of course. I could hear the faint sound of her breathing, and see her chest rise and fall. Good. Phi's gonna be alright. But Kay... I looked over in his direction. That was when I noticed it. Open. There's a hole here, on the back of your head. Yeah, it looks like you insert something. It says open, so maybe if you put some kind of key in there...
You could open up the suit and take the mask off.
Wait. Then he... But when could he have... It's empty.
Yes.
Was there something in there before?
No. It was empty when I found it.
Oh wait, the lock's already been opened?
What? This was from the Golem Bay. The Golem Bay was open for no discernible reason, and it was in a weird state.
What I mean is what Sigma just said about when did he do it.
Oh.
But when could he have... I think, now that I think back, I think if we look back at his helmet, I think the lock is already in the open position.
Oh.
I think what Sigma is seeing is that the lock's already been opened, and then he's like, but when did he get the key? And now he's remembering it was this.
Okay, yeah.
But what if he'd lied? Could Kay have taken the key? Because look, the lock thing is facing open. Was it doing that before? It looks like it's already been turned.
Oh yeah. I don't remember if it was facing open before or not.
Yeah, I think it was facing up before. How he'd gotten it didn't really matter anymore. What did matter was that Kay had been able to remove his armor. And he had. Wait, was it this?
Yeah, he was... When you guys were searching for, I think it was Quark or something, he rested on the bed after telling you his life story. And this was when I noticed that, like, the bracelet didn't seem to be in his suit in the picture, which I mentioned, like, indirectly without telling you what it was.
What do you mean the bracelet wasn't in his suit?
Like, you saw him resting, or returned in to see him resting, and then left later, and, like, it looked like...
You mean all it was an empty suit? He wasn't in it?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Holy shit! Then that would mean Dio's killer is... I coaxed as much strength as I could from my increasingly lethargic body and crawled toward Kay. Kay! Wake up! Come on, talk to me! I grabbed his shoulder and shook him until he finally shifted and spoke.
Sigma.
I just need to know one thing. Did you kill Dio? You weren't sleeping, were you? After I left, you took off your armor. You didn't want to go the same way I had, so you took the other door. After you went the long way around through the warehouse and the crew quarters, you headed for the elevator. Uh-huh. This would be easier to follow if it, like, actually said on the map what the rooms were.
Yeah.
I bumped into Phi and we went back to the lounge to check on you. We saw you. Or we saw your armor, I guess. By then, you would have been out of it. While we were in the lounge, you went to the treatment room and killed Dio. You must have turned off the oxygen to his pod, although you probably didn't stick around to make sure he died. I'm betting you were in a hurry to get back before Phi and I noticed something was up. Once you got back to floor A, you needed us out of the lounge, so you made a noise in the hall to lure us out. Then you ran around and took the long way back to the lounge so you could enter through the rear door. So that's the lounge in the top right corner.
Yeah. I've always
And he's running room.
remembered, but I guess it might be hard because they're all just boxes besides the crew quarters.
Yeah. Once you were there, you put on your suit again and waited for us. As soon as we found Dio's body, we did exactly what you'd expected. Kay, wake up! Something's happened! You pretended to wake up, very disoriented and confused. What is it? Come on, Kay. I'm almost out of time. Did you kill Dio?
Yes.
Oh, so much for the malfunctioning pod theory.
Yeah.
Your reasoning is correct. I killed him.
Although I do think it would be hilarious if we had inadvertently killed him.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I couldn't forgive him. He took the life of someone very important to me. I couldn't...
Who did he kill?
The old woman.
Oh, she was Kay's mother. What?
She was like a mother to me. She showed me how to see meaning in my life.
Wait, are you saying...
Yes, I am. She was the woman who came here when I was 18.
Whoa, hold on. What do you mean here?
Sigma, unfortunately, we are out of time. There's something I have to tell you. I made a promise that you would hear it. Do you understand? This is very important.
Yes, we understand. We need to remember this between jumps.
You must pay attention. You cannot forget.
The code for the number 20 bomb.
Oh, God. You're only a quarter of the way through the game now. Forget. He wasn't making sense. I was about to die. How on earth would I be remembering anything for more than a few seconds?
If you see a lion with two heads devouring the sun, remember these letters.
Yes?
MILKEVOLI.
For
a minute I thought the password was going to be Milkman. MILK. So let's see, we'll go to our second tab here. We'll just leave Jumpy Doll for now. MILK. There's a little dash there in case it's important.
Evo. Or EVO. LI. So it's Milkavoli. Like ravioli.
Yep. Sure. Milkavoli, that works.
This will open the second gate.
Alright, we have a username and a password, I guess. What the hell? Hey, Kay! Who told you to tell me this? No. Who are you? Show me! Show me who you really are! I grabbed a hold of Kay's mask and tore it off. What? What? No, that's impossible! That face! Is that... It's my face! He's us? I felt a sharp pain in my left wrist, and my body collapsed unceremoniously.
So he is a clone.
The second drug. What the hell? That's not what I was expecting. I kind of thought, it had crossed my mind that it's like, what if it's somebody totally different? I never thought about what if it's us. But... What? Why? How? Left would at least make sense, but where the hell did that come from? When did we get cloned? Why did we get cloned? Now that's very confusing. Because all the clones are based on left, right?
Yeah, which would be...
There should be all clones of Dio, right? So we're a totally separate cloning from that. So I guess maybe we weren't cloned by the same we were cloned, just not by the same person? There's two people doing cloning? Weird. The second drug. Tubocurary. Oh man, I just thought of something. Back when we found the battle axe in K, and we found Dio pinned to the wall.
Yeah.
Then remember when Sigma was looking at K and was like, another member of Group B or whatever, because he had the, that adrenaline spike when he was dying that allowed him to kill the other guy. So it's like that takes on a whole different meaning when you realize that they're not just in the same group, they're the same person.
Yeah, I let you run with the whole Dio and K clone theory for a while.
It was a clone, but it just wasn't Dio.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which is what made it so much better, because I never thought that this was a very early end for me. This was the one where, I started with Luna, then skipped the Dio end, managed to hit the Clover end directly, and came back to this.
Right. Wow. So I wonder how that would have colored the whole rest of the game then, if you play everything else just knowing that he's Sigma in there.
Yeah, I took... For quite a while, I was thinking one of them might be the robot and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because it makes sense if they're the same.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't know about the cloning stuff. I don't know when the cloning idea was introduced.
Yeah. There was also the white blood on Sigma, because you don't figure out until that end that there are artificial arms unless you read the secret files.
Tubocurine. My vision began to blur, and my head felt unnaturally heavy. The world faded away, and my consciousness slipped down into the cold, dark waters of nothingness. So I take it this is going to be the K end.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying how it was going to be disappointing when we take off his mask, and it's Dio, and it's like, well, we figured this out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't disappointed. We also got an achievement through the looking glass. Well, that was terribly unexpected.
Yeah, so now we've got both the passwords for the far left ending.
Yeah, so basically we have only two places we can go.
Yeah.
We can go unlock the computer at the far left and complete two endings based on that. And then we have the far right, which is probably the true end to actually finish the game. So I think we'll go with the computer ending first. Beyond the computer ending, there'll be one true end and one small bad end. And this will probably unlock some critical information we need to know to be able to finish the true end. And then it's just a straight shot, at least as far as we can tell here, to the end of the game. But we'll get to that next time. In the meanwhile, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you all then.
Bye.